Good morning, folks. Welcome to Let's Play Games West Virginia. I am Kevin. Today we have officially named this segment No Obvious Exits. So Sunday mornings we're going to be doing text adventures and weird stuff and things of that nature. So today we're going to look at a much newer text adventure. Last week we played probably 80 to 90% of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Infocom's 1984 classic adventure. But today we're hopping pretty much into the modern era. This is a 2005 game. It's called Vespers. It's won several awards. And I enjoy text adventures, but I didn't realize that it basically has a genre all of itself called interactive fiction, and also presents some technological challenges that I didn't know about. So generally the way a lot of these IF games work is they run on basically a virtual machine of some sort, and many of them are using the same coding language that Infocom was using in '84. So you have to be running a virtual machine, basically an interpreter that handles the games. The benefit of that is whether you're playing on Windows, Mac, Linux, it doesn't matter. The code for the game stays the same, and the interpreter handles the game for you. So the interpreter runs in a separate window. There are a few browser-compatible interpreters. I think the ones that are actually platform-based look a little bit better, and some of them can be as simple as the one we're playing today, which is just basic block text. Others have health bars, images, and they can get quite complex. So it's a really interesting sort of video game genre that, even though I've enjoyed games like this, I didn't realize it was as developed as it is. So I'm looking forward to kind of exploring that in the coming weeks. Dogs. There's something going on at the high school nearby, and so there's like band music happening, and it's driving the animals crazy. So one of the cool things about Vespers, so this is a game that takes place in the 15th century, and you are an abbot of a monastery, and the plague has happened near you, and you're attempting to mitigate that and deal with it. So previously a company had tried to kind of port this into an almost first-person shooter perspective, with the text interaction at the bottom and then some graphical stuff in the background. And it looks like that project never got to completion. But the splash background from our opening thing was one of their shots from them attempting to kind of do this hybrid gameplay experience, which was a really cool idea, and it's a bummer that it didn't work out. So with that going, I'm going to go ahead and restart the interpreter to get our timer back to something that's reasonable so we can keep track of it. And let's get started. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Day 1. It has been 5 days now. 5 days since I made the choice. 5 days since I closed the gate. Really, there was no choice. Bravado was damned when the first spot appeared, when the first bloody cough ensued from the mouth of an urchin. To have allowed this sickness sanctuary at St. Cuthbert's would only have damned us as well. But we were already damned. The plague came, and now we suffer. Six crisp chimes mark Vespers. Your heart flutters for a moment, and you place your head in your hands. In your bedroom. Your room is small. It is the same as all the others, but it seems smaller of late. With so many of your brothers gone, there has been little for you to do but wait. Wait for the spots to appear in this tiny, dark room. A chill breeze spins in through the window and out the door to the west. Your desk is pushed up against one side. It sags, but holds itself up proudly. Against the other side is your bed, the blanket wrapped up in itself from this morning. Pulling your frock tightly about you, you sigh and exit to the hall. As cold as your room is, the hall is even colder. The stone walls dance and glisten with dampness. The warmth of your room awaits to the east, and the cold of the outside world through a heavy door to the south. Moonlight streams in from the cloister to the north, and a flimsy door secures the locutory to the west. The alms box hangs closed by the door. It used to be filled with alms, now mostly cobwebs. A single coin sparkles at you from the bottom. The coin feels warm in your hand. Oh, must have entered a bad command. Well, close the box. A loud crackle splits the sound of wind, lightning. Stone tumbles in the distance. Let's head west. Locator used to be alive with bartering of merchants and the tales of visiting brothers, but since the gate was closed, no one has been in here but you. A small bed is pushed up against the wall for those visitors not permitted residency in the monastery, its tired frame supporting a light mattress. Near the door to the east is a fireplace, its embers cold for days. A wolf howls in the distance, a plaintive and hungry sound. Not a carryable item, apparently. Cloister. In the warmer months, Brother Matteo maintains a beautiful garden in the cloister. Now there is nothing but a few dead vines sticking out from beneath a blanket of snow. Still, it has a calm dignity. The wind finds no entrance here. The colonnade is broken to the south by the exit to the hall, and the west by the entrance to the refectory. The brothers' dormitory lies in the east, between the calefactory in the east and bell tower in the southeast, and the bell tower in the northeast. The church commands from the north, its spires reaching up to heaven. Brother Luca, face flushed and cheeks wet, storms out from the bell tower and off it to the dormitory to the east, meeting your eyes for only a moment. "Are you all right, brother?" you ask, receiving no response. Dozens of openings line the hall, each leading to a separate cell except for the west, which leads to the cloister. Although there are no doors, the entrances are positioned as such to afford as much privacy as possible. Brother Matteo's chamber is to the south, Ignatius to the north, Drogo's newly appointed cell in the northeast, Constantine's in the southeast, and Luca's in the southwest. His frock fluttering behind him, Luca rushes south into Matteo's room. The room is small, the same as all the others. A bed is pushed up against one wall opposite the door to the north. Luca scrambles frantically at the ground, his blood staining the stones. That's awful. His fingers bloody on the stone, his face is red and wet with tears. I don't know all the syntax for this game. Well then. A scraping sound comes from Constantine's cell, forming an eerie melody with the sobs from Matteo's. Constantine is one of the few brothers with anything in his room besides a bed. A few tools lay near the door to the southwest, remnant of his life as a blacksmith. A smell lingers here, a sour smell. Brother Constantine sits on the bed, a young hair dangling from his hand. His knife moves swiftly. Constantine sits on the bed, causing it to sag from his immense mass. Despite his size, he moves swiftly, his knife darting in and out between the hair, skin, and muscle. A pool of blood forms at his bare feet. A warmth spreads through your body, soothing the chill and fear from your bones. Salvation. She is here. Constantine was a godsend when he arrived 5 years ago. Before him, St. Cuthbert's had to enlist the help of lay people in Rivato whenever something needed to be built. Now, Constantine does it all cheerfully, except for the occasional grumble. I've actually heard this name pronounced Cuthbert and Cuthbert. Not sure what's correct. Ignatius' room does not smell as strongly as the others. He has spent so much time in the infirmary of late, taking care of the sick. He's a braver man than you. A bed is pushed up against one wall opposite the door to the south. He seems to have made himself right at home. The room smells of animals and sweat. Scratches adorn the bed and lead out the door to the southwest. In the warmer months, Brother Matteo maintains a beautiful garden in the cloister. Now there is nothing but a few dead vines sticking out from beneath a blanket of snow. Still, it has a calm dignity. The wind finds no entrance here. Since you relegated the brothers to pray on their own, except for Mass, the church has been all but empty. Rows of pews part down the center, ushering you up to the chancel in the north, opposite the cloister in the south. The ceiling towers above you, its frescoes dim in the candlelight. Towering above all else is a massive wooden cross. It is awesome. The font glows warmly in the candlelight, not a ripple on the water's surface. The saints smile cheerfully down upon you from their colorful windows. Brother Ignatius sits in one of the pews near the front, staring intently at the candles. Whispers dance in your ears, growing, fading. You have spent many a solemn Mass up here, gazing out into the sea of your brethren. Now all you see is a sea of empty pews to the south. Towering above all else is a massive wooden cross. A beautiful glass case holds the body of St. Cuthbert near the base of the chancel. The lectern stands in the center of the chancel, the Bible atop it, shining with gold filigree. The saints smile cheerfully down upon you from their colorful windows. So we just examined the body of St. Cuthbert. He is so calm, so serene. His body is unblemished by the centuries that have passed. Truly, he is incorruptible. He even smells divine, as though flowers were growing beneath him. The lectern stands with more strength and confidence than you do of late, his support of the Bible unwavering. Typing is hard. The Bible. How many times has it been there for you? When your heart is heavy, you often come to read it, reflect upon its wisdom. Now, though you find it intrudes upon your thoughts during the most mundane of tasks, passages spring to you unbidden, filling your ears with the words of God, filling your mind with... What? It is currently open to Ecclesiastes 9:3. There is an evil among all things that are done under the sun, and there is one event unto all. Yea, also the heart of the sons of men is full of evil, and madness is in their heart while they live, and after that they go to the dead. Well, that's pleasant. Cedar pews line the path from chancel to the north to the cloister to the south. Their surface is cold. The ceiling towers above you, its frescoes dim in the candlelight. I actually don't know what this word is. I know all the other parts of the monastery thus far. Outside the calefactory? Calefactory? Perhaps this is the only place at St. Cuthbert's that is a comfortable temperature. Heat blasts at you from the calefactory in the southeast, but is countered by the chill from the cloister to the northwest. No, that isn't right. They do not cancel. Their furies are incited by one another. One sec. Oh, okay. It is a warming house, a sitting room. I don't know if we can get an auto exit. No. We will continue southeast. Calefactory. Positioned directly between the dormitory and your own room, the calefactory warms both, although lately it is less than adequate. While the calefactory itself is stiflingly hot, its heat stays confined. Your brow grows damp, your body feverish. Slightly melted snow creeps in from the cloister to the northwest. We've not yet been to the bell tower. Nestled in the northeast corner of the cloister, the bell tower rises high, higher than the steeples of the church. Footsteps cut a line in the snow from the cloister to the southwest to the tower itself in the northeast. High above the rest of St. Cuthbert's, the tower affords a view of the surrounding land. In the spring, it is quite beautiful. Now, all you see is the endless moonlit glow of snow. Snow in the trees, snow in the mountains, snow. The bell sways in the breeze, its tongue almost but never touching the sides. Brother Mateo leans against the rail, staring into the wind. It was worth a shot. Well. Have we been west? I don't think so. The only room at St. Cuthbert's large enough to hold all of the brothers except for the church. The refectory seems immense. Normally, when you are in here, the place is alive. Now the only movement is the draft spinning between the tables and out to the cloister in the east. Row upon row of deserted seats stand testament to the damage inflicted by the plague. The kitchen lies to the south. Brother Drogo sits at one of the tables, scratching furiously at its hard surfaces. Brother Drogo sits in a filthy frock. That's dangerous to say 5 times fast. Black tendrils of greasy hair dangling in his eyes. Every now and then he puffs loudly to blow the hair out of his face, but it always falls back. The dead don't eat, or so you've been told. Still, the kitchen is practically empty. Bare tables stand with no crumbs on them. All the perishables were finished up this morning. No more will be coming if Rivado is as barren as you think. Hopefully, some remain in the cellar through the hatch in the floor. The refectory lies to the north. A cutlery rack sits on one of the tables. Against one wall is a large cupboard, its doors closed. An itch tickles beneath your skin. As the doors swing open, a black shape springs from inside. A flash of pain sears across your arm and then quickly subsides. You whirl around to see a cat tearing out of the refectory, a drop of blood falling from its claws. Oops. As you enter the hall, you hear a feeble rasping at the southern door. "Please help me. Is anyone in there?" A faint voice calls over the wind. "Please, I have traveled for days. Rivado is a graveyard. The rats have eaten everything." Pushing the bar out of the way, you open the door, allowing a frail figure and a drift of snow to spill into the hall. Before you, fingers bloody and face as pale as the snow it lies in, is a young woman. Her clothing is little more than tatters with stains of blood from where her hands were resting. "Please," she gasps, raising herself up for a moment. "I'm so cold." With that, she returns her face to the icy ground. With more than a little trouble, you hoist the girl into your arms. Your knees feel as though they might buckle, but hold for now. The young woman groans and kicks slightly as the cold from the cloister seeps across her skin. Apparently we have to go this way. You lay the young girl on the bed, and she immediately relaxes. Her eyes remain closed, but no longer twitch with discomfort. The young girl lies comatose in the bed, her only movement the occasional fit of shivering. After much coaxing, you finally get the wet logs to ignite. The flame is weak, but it will do. Okay. Do we just leave her here? You drape your bedding over the girl, and she seems to calm down a bit. The warmth is finally enough for her to stir. Food, she says, please. With that, she passes back into slumber. I think we still have this. Here, you say, holding out the food, I have brought you something to eat. Finally, the girl stirs awake and quickly grabs the food from your hands. Thank you, she says, as she shoves the food into her mouth. Within moments, the few crumbs you had given her are gone, and she finally seems content. Thank you for your kindness, Father, she starts, extending her hand for the packs. My name is Sit, and then her words are cut off by the sound of a bell ringing in the distance. Her eyes widen and the blood drains from her cheeks. There's nothing to be afraid of, you say, taking her hand gently. It's only the bell of Compline. That is why I'm afraid. Her chin drops to her chest. The girl sobs gently in her head and hands. The bell continues its toll. 4, 5, 6. In place of the 7th ring is a scream that rips in from the cloister and silences the wind. The girl places her head in her hands with a slight sob. I'm sorry, Father. And then turning, and to you too. Ooh, that's creepy. Well, that's a little creepy. Well, I think we have to go check on the bell tower. Oh my God, you hear someone cry from the northeast. Matteo. Brother Matteo lies upon the ground, blood trickling from the side of his head. Luca kneels by his side. The remaining brothers are gathered around the body, shouting. Drogo jumps up and down, rubbing his hands with glee. It begins, he squeals to you through a wide grin. Well, that's awful. Matteo looks so calm. Tiny snowflakes trace the creases in his face, lingering longer and longer as time passes. His mouth fills with snow. Constantine strides forward and smacks Luca across the face, sending him sprawling into the snow. Get away from him, murderer, he shouts, eyes burning. Constantine, Ignatius shouts defiantly, stepping between the two. Although Constantine towers above him, Ignatius looks rather taller than you've ever seen him. Leave the boy alone. Drogo giggles. Well, Drogo's kind of terrifying. Hey. But he is a murderer, Constantine replies, stepping back, face flushed. I know that as well as you, but that does not excuse you from God's wishes. It's not clear who's talking there. We will lock him up in the cellar, then the father can decide what to do with him, Ignatius continues. Constantine chews his lip, releasing a tiny drop of blood. No, the cellar will not do. We will lock him in the calefactory. Fine, fine, as you wish. Hey. With that, Constantine hoists Luca by the shoulders and shoves him towards the calefactory. Ignatius turns towards you and says, You should get some sleep, Father. We all should. You can get to the bottom of this in the morning. That seems dangerous. You are sure that other things exist, but for now, all there is Matteo lying on the ground below. From here, he could easily be alive. He smiles at you. No, not a smile, a sneer. He's laughing at you. Laughing because you are still trapped. He was always laughing. The bell sways in the breeze, its tongue almost, but never touching the sides. Brother Matteo's corpse lies upon the ground, the blood freezing to his face. Drogo grins at you. Oh, the fun we'll have. Yeah, we need to, kick this dude out of the monastery. The day is beginning to catch up with you. You yawn with a lot more force than you would have thought necessary. Of course. Be careful, Father. Everyone's crazy but you. I think, I don't quite recall that in the Book of Ruth. Your bed calls to you from the side of the room. Her song is sweet, and it sings of treachery. You lay your head down on the cold, hard bed and drift off to sleep faster than you expected. A few hours later, you are woken by the sound of heavy breathing coming from beside your bed. It is the last sound you hear before the knife slides across your throat. It is over. Well, we died, so that only took 29 minutes. Well, let's undo that last move, eh? Apparently we should have took her song is sweet, but it sings of treachery rather more seriously than we did. What's interesting is I don't know if you've noticed, the description's changed a bit. So now the church squats to the north, her spires clawing at the sky as she tries to climb away from the earth. Now we're in the church, and the uncomfortable-looking pews part before you. Shrinking in the back of the chancel is a wooden cross. It does not tower, only sit. The font slouches toward the base of the chancel. The saints smile sadly at you from their glass houses. A dry, dusty case holds St. Cuthbert's corpse. The dust sticks to your damp skin. The smell dries your nose. A rather violent cough shakes your body. Mucus cakes your nose. Constantine goes about preparing himself for bed. A skinned rabbit sits on the floor, its muscles shimmering in the light. It's not like you saw Matteo in here much. He was always in the tower. Still, it feels empty knowing he's gone. North leads out. One of the flagstones is tinted with blood. The stone looks the same as the mall, except for the liberal amounts of blood drying in the cracks. You pry at the stone, but your fingers accomplish little besides bleeding. Huh. So north and northeast go to the same spot from those rooms. That's a strange setup. He seems to have made himself right at home. The room smells of animals and sweat. So like Drogo is clearly dangerous. There's something not totally on the up and up happening here. If I had to wager, I would say it was his knife that we were introduced to a little bit ago. So we checked on Mateo, Ignatius, Drogo, Constantine, and Luca. So that's all of them. A rather violent cough shakes your body. Mucus cakes your nose. Perhaps the only place in Cuthbert's that is comfortable. All right. West. Okay, I don't know if we ought to bury this fellow somehow. Oh. Where was Constantine at? So I suspect I need a tool to lift this stone. I need a key from Constantine. Constantine stands in bare feet. He does not appear to be cold. That's interesting. I'm going to go north. Those are all the same. Is he not here? Where is this guy? Oh wait, I have that coin. I wonder if I can use that to... Oh, I went the wrong way. It's not the right tool. Alright, so we do need a tool. Wait, someone's room had tools, right? Not that guy. Who had tools? Man, someone's room had tools. Who was that? Alright, we'll just go around the compass. Not this guy. Not this guy. Not that guy. Man, that was everybody. I could have sworn that we saw someone's room that had tools, but I can't remember who it is. I wonder if we just missed that portion and now we're stuck. That would be a bummer. Where else might we find tools? Nope. Oh, oops. Do you think we have to leave? Leave? The last hint of shelter outside against the outside world, but it is only a hint. The wind rushes by like a stream of ice water to the south. Only the curve of the arch protects you. The warmth, for as much as it could be called that, of the monastery awaits to the north, and the cold of outside to the south. So that's apparently not where we're supposed to go. South, east, west are out. South is out. West is my room, east is her room. That's it. All right. All right. Give me a second here. All right. All right. So I think I see what we need to do next. Hair, coin, tinderbox, candelier, frog. Where are we at? Aha. All right. So what we just did is, we died twice trying to sleep in this room, and so I wanted to see kind of what some other people had done. So I hopped online to see, and some of the other playthroughs were interesting. Apparently, lots of people are being creepy with this person who's just wandered in from the outside. But yeah, so I saw that we needed to move the desk to close the door. So that was the scuffling of the door that killed us previously, but we made it through the night. Day 2. I am in the midst of lions. I lie among ravenous beasts, men whose teeth are spears and arrows, whose tongues are sharp swords. Day 2. Returning to your cold bed, you sleep until morning. You awake to the sound of a sharp pounding at your door. Father! Constantine's growl is clear. Wake up! Luca has escaped. Morning light streams through the window, but it is a cold, heavy light. Hurry up, Father. Another knock. Constantine stands impatiently, face flushed. Cecilia watches from her doorway. The alms box hangs closed beside the door. It's about time. Come with me. And he stomps off to the cloister. The sun shines in the east, but the cloister is dim. There was no snow last night, but it remains high. It is dirty and soaks up what little light makes it here. The colonnade is broken to the south by the exit, as is normal. The church cowers away from the sun. Her sins, like all sins, are revealed by the light of day. Constantine storms to the calefactory, kicking up snow as he does. See, he shouts, pointing aggressively to a gaping hole where the lock should be. The bastard kicked it out from inside. The broken boards are smashed inwards, and there are no splinters on this side. A slight hint of red sparkles on the wood. Constantine starts mumbling curses under his breath as he pulls some tools from his belt and begins repairing the door. You see Drogo strolling past to the south before he catches sight of you and waves. Father! Drogo squeals, skipping towards you. I was just about to come find you. You must come with me. It is so beautiful, he says, grabbing you by the arm, tugging you towards the church. This is not going to be good. Come, Father! His eyes glow with childlike enthusiasm, but his grip is of steel. We're almost there. Something is different at the far end of the chancel, isn't it? Good Lord. Drogo stands proudly and looks to you for approval, his grin tentative. Look, Father, I made it all by myself. Looking up, you see what Drogo is excited about. Matteo dangles, crucified from the cross, vicious holes in his hand and feet. Whoa. Well, Father, isn't it beautiful? Drogo stands, gripping your wrist tightly, nodding proudly to himself. Oh. Oh no. Well, was your time wasted up here? Was it all for naught? As you look to the empty pews to the south, you wonder how it has helped anyone. St. Cuthbert sinks in his tomb, rot creeping in from his extremities. The lectern is weak and brittle, barely able to support the weight of the massive tome upon it. The saints look down with cold eyes. It's not pity, it's something else. Drogo stands proudly, looks to you for approval, his grin tentative. Drogo strokes his chin thoughtfully. But it needs something. He looks confused for a moment before flinging a hand in the air with a satisfied whistle. I know exactly what it is. Before you can move, he sprints out of the church. Cold knives of pain cut through your skull. They ease off, leaving a dull throbbing behind your eyes. The bell clangs. You've never been this close when it has before. Your ears sting for a bit before settling down. I don't know. I'm going to try to warn everyone with this bell. That's kind of my plan here. I don't know if we can do anything. So, all right. Clearly, Drogo is murdering folks, and I'd rather Cecilia leave, but I don't know how to make that happen. All right. The sun's light does nothing to warm you, but instead it burns your eyes with its fury, nothing like the cool darkness inside the monastery to the north. It is so bright that you can barely make out the stables to the east. They're just a darker square in a field of white. The infirmary is a little clearer to the west. A tangle of footsteps leads south to the gate. A lone white dove flies off into the morning sun. The infirmary stands well away from the rest of the monastery. A little good it has done, though. The plague still seeped its way in. A rickety door leads into the infirmary, and a well-worn path leads to the cemetery in the northwest, and back to the main part in the east. The smell is bad, although not as bad as you would have expected it to be. Constantine must be keeping up with dealing with the dead. Empty, vomit-stained beds lie haphazardly about the room. Buckets overflow with human filth. The plague soon overtook those caring for the sick. The air is heavy with disease. The wind whipped its way through the tombstones, whistling a harsh tune. The air is crisp and clean. The smell of corpses is nowhere to be found. In a section off from the established cemetery, now row after row of makeshift crosses stand. Plague victims. The path winds its way back to the infirmary in the southeast. In the shadow of the stables, you can make things out a little more clearly. Half a dozen empty stalls show the plague's influence. With their caretakers dead, the horses starved. The smell winds its way through your nostrils, numb though they are. It can be escaped to the path in the west, or the garden in the northeast. A small ladder leads up to the roof of the stables. The smell is even worse up here. Snow weighs in the roof, causing it to sink in the middle. Sometimes hay is stored up here in the summer. Now the roof barely supports the snow. A bale of hay sits just slightly more than neck's length from the horses' stalls. Whoa. The gardens used to provide most of the food for the entire monastery. Now, none. A few black stalks poke through the snow, their appearance always perfectly predicted by the rows they were planted in. The wilderness is stronger here. Twisted briars block all paths but the one southwest, back to the stables. Drogo slashes wildly at the briars with the dull machete. A low chorus of growls rises from the briars, singing with the swing of Drogo's blade. Man, all right. Lightning has torn through the gate, leaving only dark, broken rocks in its place. Black scorch marks twist their way through the rubble. Stone crumbs are all that remain in some places. The snow is caked in soot. Usually it would be lined with many footsteps, now only a few disturb the inky darkness. The snow-covered path winds its way back north to the monastery and south towards Rivado. A series of strange mounds line the southern side where the gate used to be. They are misshapen, uneven. You cannot tell what they are beneath the snow. Shoveling through the snow with frost-bitten hands, you eventually strike a rock. No, not a rock. You push back the rest of the snow to uncover the icy, stone-hard face of a young woman. She has only two colors, black and white. Plague colors. Whispers dance in your ear, growing, fading. Are all the horses gone? I don't know if we can lock Drogo out. I mean, he seems to make it out on his own. He can probably make it back in. Violent coughs spew from your lungs. You wipe a small spattering of blood from your mouth. I need a key. I don't know where we're going to get that. The tools are gone. Man, I knew there were supposed to be tools here. Alright, Constantine clearly has them now, but we need them. So Constantine is one of the tools, obviously. Hmm. Oh. Guess we died again. I just wanted to see if the jump command did stuff, and yeah, it does. You can jump off of things. So, that's happy. Man. All right. Oops. What makes you think he escaped? You ask, running your hands over the door. Because the door's broken, you idiot, he shouts, his face burning. No one else would want a murderer walking St. Cuthbert's. Just shut up, Father, and leave me to work. I cannot hear much. God's voice is weak in this place, but I know Luca did not escape, at least not on his own. Yeah, you and I are in agreement there. Go find Luca. If you are in trouble, pray to me. I will do whatever I can to help. I can help you no more. What are you doing, Drogo? You ask, almost afraid of the answer. Matteo needs something else, something more, he says, going back to the briars. You'll see. It'll be perfect. Alright, so I didn't realize the talk command was necessary, so I may have missed crucial information, especially now that we're missing people. Those are strange. That's no bueno. Mateo's corpse dangles from the cross. The wounds in his head, hands, and feet sparkle with crystals of frozen blood. His eyes stare through you to nothing. Mateo laughs. You'll always be trapped, he gloats. Habakkuk, 43. So I need to get either the key, I need to get a key, I think, for that hatch, but I have no idea where that key could be. All right. Oh, that's strange. Man, this has got some dark stuff going on. Damn it, he slams the hammer extra hard. Oh. Drogo crucified Mateo. Your words are flat, lifeless. Damn it, he slams the hammer extra hard and turns to you. Why did you let him out? He massages the hammer gently. Well, you deal with him, because if he comes around here, I can't guarantee his safety.